Hey everyone, thanks so much for coming to our fireside chat. Today we will be speaking about scaling a team without losing culture. Have some really awesome guest speakers here today. We'd love for them to introduce themselves. Karen, would you like to go first?
More than happy to. My name is Karen. I am Senior Director of People Operations here at Order.
Hi there, I'm Liz Raymond. I'm the head of Global TA at Nexthink.
Awesome, thank you. And I'm Ai-Mei. I lead the recruiting team here at ChartHop. So really interesting topic that we're touching on today. I think, scaling a team without losing culture is really important. As organizations grow, some change is inevitable, right? But company culture shouldn't have to be. So I guess to kick it off, Liz, what does hiring for culture fit look like for your organization? Do you lean more on values fit to mitigate bias?
Yeah, the word culture fit for me has started to evolve a little bit as I've been with Nexthink for the past year and a half and really trying to shift it to culture add, right? Because, each year that we're hiring, I mean, we've been doubling in size. So who we were last year is no longer who we were today, right? I think culture can be regionally found and found in teams, but also values are how we interact and work together. So we really do rely on values as part of our recruitment process. The TA team, when meeting with a candidate, takes them through a values-based interview first, really to kind of connect with and see, do they embody the ways that we work, right? We show up as one team, we like to collaborate. We are positive, like we grow together. These are some of the values that we incorporate. So we're really trying to check that off first before we get into the technical aspects of the role.
No, I love that. I think culture add is the preferred way of saying culture fit these days. And Karen, how are things on your end?
Yeah, to echo what Liz said, we certainly use culture add as the language to talk about folks who are coming in and who really are a match in terms of how we operate. And one of the things I like to just point out is that we often in this world throw around the word culture and don't really take a minute to understand what it means. And the way that I think about culture is really, what is our DNA? Who are we as a company? And our company values are how we define that. So we use company values in the same way that Liz was describing to make sure that the folks we are bringing on board share in those same sets of values, to make sure that they do feel like this is a good fit for them. And not everyone is going to be a great fit for us, and we're going to be a great fit for everyone. So it really is about aligning with those values, and making sure that everyone feels like they have a place here and they are comfortably in the right place.
No, absolutely. I think we at ChartHop haven't started to set up a value screen yet in our interview process, but that's definitely something we're looking to implement this year. And I'm so glad to hear that both of you already have, started that at your company. I think also too, like culture is such a big thing, but it also starts with the executive team, right? They also need to make sure that we are bought in, and we also want to create the same culture. I think for ChartHop, Ian, our CEO, we've grown so crazy from what I came in as number 37 a year ago. We're at 200 today, like wild. And the most recent all hands, he made it very clear. He's like, listen, we need to make sure the culture is consistent. We need to continue being fast, inclusive, and, really building that so that by the time we get to 1,000 plus, things don't change, right? People are still very excited to come to work and really happy. But I think it's really interesting during the interview process. I think my favorite question to ask candidates are, what piqued your interest about ChartHop? Why do you want to work here? And seeing if their values align with ours definitely will speak volume about just, will they be happy here? And will they like, working with our team and, the culture around that piece. So really appreciate that. And then maybe Karen, for signals, what do you look for to indicate culture is positively growing alongside headcount? Are there any like red flags you like to, keep an eye out sooner than later?
Yeah, so a lot of it is gut feel, because I'm working with the team, across the team all the time, and can really sense how the culture is feeling. One of the things that I think happens a lot of times, and Ai-Mei, you touched on this, is culture dilution. As the team grows, that original feeling of that small team really working together and sharing a very similar set of core values can start to dilute over time when you bring more and more folks in. When you start to assess on company values alignment, what you start to find is that the culture actually gets richer as the company grows. And that's what's really exciting to watch. So when team members are super excited to join our culture and inclusion committee because they want to engage with how to connect with their fellow team members and make this place an even better environment to work in, those are the types of signs that indicate to me that we're building a richer and richer culture as time goes on and we add more great folks to our team. And then I think from a more tactical, data-driven standpoint, we certainly have our engagement survey, which tells us how people are feeling. Do they feel like they belong here? Do they feel like they can contribute here in a psychologically safe way? Those are certainly indicators that we look at as well, apart from just kind of gauging how the team is feeling regularly, if that makes sense.
It's also a lot too for just like the people team. I mean, people team are rather small, right? And when you're supporting an organization of like 1,000 plus, it's hard to see who's actually happy and like have them really be honest with you. But no, I love that. Liz, how are things on your end?
Similarly to Karen, we do have engagement surveys and pulse surveys that we're doing throughout the year to check in to get that feedback. I mean, part of our product is around employee experience. And so, we ask survey questions as part of like the Nexthink platform. We're reaching out and we're asking people, how are they feeling at all points in times, in addition to that big engagement survey. But when I think about, the non-data points, really like the quality of like digging in, it's when people are asking to come into the office to be around each other in team events. We've seen an uptick of that because there's this there's something missing of being able to connect with employees. We're not a fully remote, I mean, we're a hybrid, and people are asking, they're wanting to engage. That's one way we've kind of seen that change this year, is people are asking to be around each other and to come in and host events. Something we implemented last year that was a way to visualize the interaction of our values and our culture was using a word tool that I'm not going to plug the name of that software now, but we use a tool that you can highlight and give kudos to your team members and you attach a value to it. And so it's really great to see how we're uplifting each other. So you get to see it in action, which is less of like, I'm asking you from a leadership perspective to give me your feedback. I'm seeing how we embody our values day in, day out with these kudos. That everyone can see. So that's a fun way. And then like retention, like paying attention to when folks are walking out the door, like what are they saying? We've been listening to our Glassdoor quite a bit. We've been asking people for feedback in different ways. And we're implementing other tools just at like the touch of candidate experience through onboarding and being here. Like, what is it like? What's your experience, to just try to gauge it all along the way?
These are all really amazing points. I love how we're all aligned with like checking the pulse of our employees, always listening. I think listening is so important.
Yeah.
People don't think HR is for the employees, right? People think that people team are for executives. And I think that we're really trying to change that. Would love to chat with you offline of the tool that you're using, because that sounds really awesome. We also use this tool here where we reward our employees when they're doing well. It's really cool where we reward them with like experiences, whether it's like wine tasting or like massage. Really, really cool. And I think something we also do within company is shout outs. We actually let our employees give each other shout outs, and we like recognize that in the channel. So it's like really cool. And then lastly, what legacy would either of you like to leave behind?
For me, it's always about empathy and inclusion. Just as a leader and as TA, like creating that not only for myself as a leader, but having my team always think with that lens, whether it's the candidate that we're having empathy for, the manager, the business, and inclusion too, like always using that as a lens wherever we are. So that's my personal kind of passion and like what drives me and what I'd like my stamp to be.
That's certainly can echo a lot of that, but I would add being a people leader today takes a lot of courage. It has always taken a particular amount of courage, but in today's world, I think being able to hold a place at the executive table in the global environment that we are in today and have the courage to speak up on behalf of your team and to hold up a mirror when that needs to happen, to be able to make progress and advocate on behalf of the folks that are, on behalf of really all of us who are experiencing this particular time and place. So instilling a feeling of courage and really maintaining, like I said before, kind of a level of authenticity of just like being a real person and having empathy for the real person that's across the table from you, and doing your best to learn about yourself and how you interact with others to better manage your relationships and position yourself to be able to learn about the folks around you.
Yeah, I think, echoing about having a seat at the table and being respected, I feel like people and talent it's a thankless job, right? Whenever there's a new rec that comes through, it's like, oh, here's a job, fill it in 2 weeks. I think for me, I would love to leave the impression where, I've built such a great TA function that it's well respected and, that we're advisors and subject matter experts, right? We're not just coming in and placing a backfill and calling it a day. Like, I want to add value. I want to be able to educate hiring managers how to have a real interview experience and provide the best candidate experience, right? And then I think on the candidate side, I really want to make sure that, here, my team, we provide the best candidate experience, no matter the level you're at. Recruiters have a bad rep, right? It's like, oh, they're always ghosting me. I hate recruiters and this and that. It's like, let's change that. Let's change. It's 2022. Let's change how people view people team. Let's change how people view recruiters, TA teams. Like, we are partners and we do a lot that people just don't tend to see the value. So I think for me, I would love for people to just understand all the work that we all put in, right? Being able to have tough conversations day in, day out. So it's definitely interesting to see what this new year comes or holds.